let's talk about the natural numbers, and more specifically, I want to talk about something called the number line. All right. So, we've been talking about the natural numbers, so let's just write them down. Remember, they start at 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, so here are our natural numbers. Remember, each number, we can think of these numbers as representing quantities. So, for instance, the number 1 represents, let's say, 1 dot. The number 2 represents 2 dots. The number 3 represents 3 dots, and so on. 4 and 5, like that. And we can keep going, but we're not going to. All right. Now notice, number 0 represents the absent of a quantity, and each number we increase from the previous value by 1. So we just keep adding 1 to each of these numbers, and so on. And you know, there are an infinite number of these natural numbers. We could just keep adding forever and ever and ever to our heart's content. Okay, now there is another way of looking at these numbers, and that is using something we call the number line. So let's just draw a line, and I'm going to put a little arrow on one end. Okay, so what's the whole point of this? Well, what I'm going to do is every point on the number line, I'm going to there's going to be a very specific, it's going to represent a number. Okay, so we can start at 0, and then we can have the next point along as 1, the next point be 2, the next point be 3, and so on. We can keep going here. 5, I have enough room here for number 6, and so on. Now, it's important to note here that every number has a unique place on this number line. Okay, and all the numbers are on this number line. So we call this one, in particular, the whole number line. And that's not whole as in representing a quantity whole, like a whole pizza or something. It is just the whole numbers. Okay, so there's some important things to note here. The first is that there's obviously we're keeping the ordering of the numbers, and so as you move to the right along the number line, things are getting greater or bigger. And as we move in the other direction, numbers are getting smaller or less. We can also think of this as over here as more. Okay? So we can think of the quantity of a number as we move to the right getting bigger, and as we move to the left getting smaller.